Hello and welcome back to another half-hour segment, and this time it's just me and my victim, una víctima que tengo a mi izquierda. On my left I have a victim. She's here to help me help you, to help me help you, ayudarme, ayudarles a ustedes. So she's here to help me help you, o bien se puede insertar tú. She's here to help me to help you. But today, at least for the first part of the program, we're going to practice less than, fewer than, as much as, and as many as. Or not as much as, not as many as. There are fewer Indians in Norway than in Arizona, which means there aren't as many Indians in Norway as in Arizona, which means there are more Indians in Arizona than in Norway. There are more cars. There are more cars in Madrid than in Valladolid, which means there are fewer cars in Valladolid than in Madrid, which means there aren't as many cars in Valladolid as in Madrid. So the person who's going to help me with these things is a person that maybe you know, maybe you know, maybe you don't. I don't remember if she's come here or not. So if this is your first time on the air, well, welcome. If it's not your first time, then welcome back. And I would like to introduce you. Me gustaría o quisiera presentarles a ustedes a mi amiga Annette. I would like to introduce you to. I would like to introduce you to Annette. Hello, Annette.
Hello.
Are you glad to be here?
Yes, I'm very glad to be here.
Are you nervous today?
A little bit.
Are you always nervous when you have class with me?
I always told you when I'm nervous when I'm sitting in front of you.
You're nervous. Okay.
Yes.
Are you trembling?
Not so much.
Not so much. Is your heart beating?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Are you ready to practice English?
Oh, of course, I must.
Okay, look. Now listen. I'm going to say a sentence with fewer, and I want you to say the same thing in the negative. Example. Listen to me. There are fewer bears. There are fewer bears, osos. There are fewer bears in Morocco than in Alaska. Do you understand?
Yes.
There are fewer bears, menos osos en Marruecos que en Alaska. There are fewer bears in Morocco than Alaska. Now you say exactly the same thing, but starting with a negative. There aren't as many bears in Morocco as in Alaska. Do you understand?
There aren't
Bueno,
as...
pues espera. Un, dos, tres, respondo tres. Let's do it now. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, there are fewer bears in Morocco than in Alaska.
There aren't
Aren't.
as many bears in Morocco than in Alaska. As in Alaska.
Ahí está. Pues eso es el motivo principal de todo esto es el famoso as, no than. There aren't as many bears in Morocco as in Spain, as in Alaska. Okay? So, another. There are fewer people in Paris than in Tokyo.
There aren't as fewer.
As many.
There aren't as many people in Tokyo than in Paris.
Porque ahí está. There aren't as many people. Listen, there are fewer people.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. There are fewer people in Paris than in Tokyo. Y es correcto eso en inglés, pero se dice mucho más. No hay tantos como. There aren't as many.
There aren't as many
people in Paris as in Tokyo. Repeat.
There aren't as many people as
in Paris.
In Paris as in Tokyo.
Yes. Okay. There aren't as many people in Paris as in Tokyo. In Paris, there are about 8 or 9 million people, but in Tokyo, there are 11 or 12 or even 13 million people. So definitely, que sin lugar a dudas, definitely there are more people in Tokyo. But nevertheless, Paris is a very big city, but there aren't as many people in Paris as in Tokyo. Repeat, there aren't?
There aren't as many people
in
Paris, in Tokyo, as in Paris.
No, there aren't as many people in Paris as in Tokyo.
There aren't as many people
in
Paris as in Tokyo.
Yes, and there aren't as many people in Toledo as in Madrid. Repeat.
There aren't as many people in Toledo as in Madrid.
And Burgos, Madrid?
There aren't as many people in Burgos as in Madrid.
Okay, and Munich, Madrid?
There aren't as many people in Munich as in Madrid.
Yes, and there aren't as many people in Barcelona as in Madrid.
There aren't as many people in Barcelona as in Madrid.
Portugal, Spain.
There aren't as many people in Portugal as in Spain.
Yeah, Spain, France.
There aren't as many people in Spain as in France.
France, Russia.
There aren't as many people in France as in Russia.
Yes, Russia, the United States.
There aren't as many people in Russia than in the,
Porque has
as in
cambiado
the
a-
United States.
¿Cuántas veces te tengo que hacer que lo hagas para que
Yes.
abandones that? Paraguay, Argentina.
There aren't as many people in Paraguay as in Argentina.
Paraguay,
Paraguay
as in Argentina.
as in Argentina.
Okay, good. And Australia, Africa.
There aren't as many people in Australia as in Africa.
There aren't as many people in Australia as in Africa, and there aren't as many people in Spain as in Russia. There aren't as many people in Russia as in China, and there aren't as many people in China as in Jupiter, el planeta. Are there any people on Jupiter?
No, they aren't.
then
I don't
it's,
know.
It's al revés. There aren't as many people on Jupiter as in Russia.
Yeah.
Okay, now, look, listen. There's less industry. There's less industry. El tejido industrial aquí. There's less industry in Australia than in the United States. There isn't?
There isn't any industry. There isn't less industry.
No, escucha. Vamos al otro. Vamos a
Yes.
dar marcha atrás y empezar otra vez.
Yes.
Are you calm? Are you paying attention? Are you relaxed? Relax.
Relaxed.
You're stiff.
Yeah.
That's TSI. You're stiff. No.
Okay.
Relax.
Relax.
Now, listen, there aren't as many people in Paris as in Tokyo. Really, it's true. There aren't as many people in Paris as in Tokyo. Repeat, please.
There aren't as many people
In
in Paris as in Tokyo.
That's true. And there aren't as many people in Morocco as in Mexico.
There aren't as many people in Tokyo as
No, in Morocco.
in Morocco as in Tokyo.
As in Mexico.
As in Mexico.
Okay, now, industry between Morocco and Spain, for example, there is less industry in Morocco than in Spain. Do you understand? There's less industry. There are fewer people, too, in Morocco than in Spain. And there's less industry in Morocco than in Spain. So no hay tanta industria en Marruecos como en España. There
isn't any.
No hay tanta. Vamos atrás. No hay tantos coches en Marruecos como en España. There aren't?
There aren't any cars.
No estoy hablando de any. No, estoy diciendo, escucha, relax. You're not relaxed. Listen to me. No hay tantos coches en Marruecos que en España. Translate. There aren't as many cars
in Morocco as in Spain.
No hay tantas personas o gente en Marruecos como en España.
There aren't as many people
In
in
Morocco?
Morocco as in Spain.
As in Spain. There aren't as many people in Morocco as in Spain. So now, let's make comparisons between Morocco and Spain, okay? Let's forget about Alaska or Mexico, okay? There aren't as many people in Morocco as in Spain. There are more in Spain. There aren't as many cars in Morocco as in Spain. There are more in Spain. Okay, ¿y industry? Es lo mismo, ¿no? There?
There aren't.
Industry es singular.
There is.
Es negativo.
There isn't.
Okay, there aren't as many cars.
Yes.
No hay tantos coches. Y no hay tanta industria. There isn't?
There isn't any.
No, olvida any. Aquí no pinta nada. Any no entra en esta ecuación para nada.
I'm
There
sorry.
aren't, espera, no hay tantos coches. Okay, listen to me.
So much.
No, listen to me. Spain and Morocco, comparisons. There are more people in Spain than in Morocco. Lo cual significa, which means there aren't as many people in Morocco as in Spain. There are more cars in Spain than in Morocco, which means that there aren't as many cars in Morocco as in Spain. There's less olive oil in Morocco than in Spain. There's more olive oil, aceite de oliva, in Spain than in Morocco, which means there isn't as much olive oil in Morocco as in Spain. There's more milk in Spain than in Morocco, which means there isn't as much milk in Morocco as in Spain. There's more oil petróleo in Morocco than in Spain, which means there is less oil in Spain than in Morocco, okay? And food in general. There's more food in Spain than in Morocco. There isn't as much food in Morocco as in Spain, okay? There is more tourism in Spain than in Morocco, which means there isn't as much tourism in Morocco as in Spain. Do you understand? Okay, we're making comparisons. One, we're saying which country has more, which country has less, and which country doesn't have as much or doesn't have as many. Okay, now let's look at the negatives here. There aren't as many cars. There aren't as many cars in Morocco as in Spain. And there isn't as much olive oil in Morocco as in Spain. There aren't as many people, plural, in Morocco as in Spain. Ahora, there isn't as much tourism, singular, in Morocco as in Spain. There's more in Spain. Okay, so there are fewer people in Paris than in London. Lo mismo es, there aren't as many people. Repeat.
There aren't as many people
In
in
Paris?
as in London.
Good. Okay, there is less industry in Australia than in Germany. There isn't as much.
There isn't as much industry in
Australia.
Australia
As
in Germany.
Right. There are fewer golf courses in France than in Spain.
There
aren't.
There aren't as much.
No. Campos de golf, plural, Annette. There are fewer golf courses in France than in Spain, lo cual significa que yo quiero que me digas lo mismo, que digas lo mismo. No estás respondiendo a una pregunta, estás diciendo una realidad de una segunda manera. Yo lo digo de una manera y tú lo dices de la otra manera. Mi manera es, hay menos campos de golf en Francia que en España, y tú respondes, no hay tantos. Es lo mismo, campos de golf en Francia como en España, ¿ok? So, there are fewer golf courses in France than in Spain. There aren't
as many golf courses in France than in Spain. As in Spain.
All right. There are fewer people in Spain than in France.
There aren't fewer.
No, there aren't as many.
There aren't as many people.
Okay, yeah, no, está bien.
There aren't as many people in Spain as in France.
Translate the following sentences, okay? Vamos con traducción inversa primero y luego volvemos a esto. No hay tantos bolígrafos en esta habitación como en la otra.
There aren't as many pens in this room as in that room.
Okay, no hay tantos coches en Madrid como en Nueva York.
There aren't as many cars in Madrid as in New York.
No hay tanto petróleo en España como en Siria.
There aren't as many.
Petróleo. No he dicho
there
petróleos.
Isn't as many.
No. It's singular.
As much. There isn't as much gas, petroleum.
Oil.
There isn't as much oil in Spain as in Syria.
All right. No hay tanta gente en Siria como en España.
There aren't there aren't as many people in Syria as in Spain.
Right. There are fewer people in Syria. Okay. Corruption. For example, no hay tanta corrupción en España como en Siria.
There isn't so much. There isn't as much corruption in Spain as in Syria.
Okay. No hay tantos beduinos en España como en Siria.
There aren't.
There aren't.
There aren't so.
¿Por qué dices so? No estoy diciendo para nada. So no entra aquí.
I'm stuck. How do you say?
No, estás entrancada en tu inglés pasado. Forget it. Okay. No hay tantos beduinos en España como en Siria. There aren't as many.
There aren't as many.
Bedouins. In
Spain as in Syria.
Good. There aren't as many Bedouins in Spain as in Syria. There are more Bedouins in Syria. There are fewer Bedouins in Spain. So there aren't as many Bedouins in Spain as in Syria. Okay? No hay tantas fábricas en Siria como en España.
There aren't so many.
¿Por qué so?
There aren't as many factories in Syria as in Spain.
Very good. No hay tanta arena en España como en Siria.
There isn't as much
Arena, sand.
sand in Spain as in Syria.
Okay. No hay tanta luz solar. No hay tanta luz solar en España como en Siria.
There isn't as much light in
¿Qué tipo de light?
sunlight
Okay.
in Spain as in Syria.
No hay tanta agua en Siria como en España.
There isn't as much water in Syria as in Spain.
Yes, there isn't as much water in Syria as in Spain. There aren't as many Bedouins in Spain as in Syria. There isn't as much sunlight in Spain as in Syria. Okay? There aren't as many people in Spain as in France. There isn't as much money in Spain as in France. Okay? There aren't as many banks in Spain as in France. There isn't as much oil, olive oil, in France as in Spain. There aren't as many people in Mexico as in Brazil. There aren't as many flamenco dancers in Mexico as in Spain. There isn't as much sunlight in Norway as in Mexico. There isn't as much oil in Mexico as in Saudi Arabia. Okay? So, no hay tanta comida en mi casa como en aquella casa.
There isn't as many.
Que no, comida, no comidas.
There isn't as much food in my house as in that house.
Very good. There isn't as much food in my house as in that house. No hay tanta música en España como en Alemania.
There isn't as much music in Spain as in Germany.
Y no hay tantos músicos en España como en Alemania.
There aren't
No alargues, aren't. It's aren't.
There aren't as many musicians in Spain as in Germany.
No hay tantos magos en Alemania como en España.
There aren't as many magicians in Germany as in Spain.
No hay tanta hierba en España como en Alemania.
There isn't as much grass in Germany as in Spain as in Germany.
No hay tanto polvo en Alemania como en España.
There isn't as much dust in Germany as in Spain.
No hay tantos micrófonos en España como en Alemania.
There aren't as many microphones in Spain as in Germany.
No hay tantos profesores de inglés en España como en Alemania.
There aren't as many
English
teachers in Spain as in Germany.
Okay. Y no hay tantas montañas en Alemania como en España.
There aren't so much.
¿Y por qué vas con eso?
There aren't as many mountains in Germany as in Spain.
Okay, good. No hay tantos ríos en España como en Alemania.
There aren't.
Yes, perdona.
There aren't as much rivers in Spain.
Rivers is plural.
There aren't as much.
Plural.
There isn't as much.
Plural, eso es singular. Quiero plural.
There aren't.
Y lo segundo en plural también.
As many rivers in Spain as in Germany.
Good. No hay tanta agua en España como en Alemania.
There isn't as many.
As much.
There isn't as much water in Germany as in Spain.
No, al revés. En Spain as in Germany.
In Spain as in Germany.
Tiempo libre.
There
isn't as much.
There isn't as much free time in Germany as in Spain.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's lo contrario. In Germany, they have 6 weeks for vacation. Yeah. I think there's more free time in Germany than in Spain.
No.
Sunlight. Luz solar.
There isn't as much sunlight in Germany as in Spain.
Okay. All right. Cerveza.
There isn't as much beer in Spain as in Germany.
Vino.
There isn't as much wine in Germany as in Spain.
Gente.
There isn't as much.
Gente. Personas.
There aren't as many people in Spain as in Germany.
All right. Okay. All right. Coches.
There aren't as many cars in Spain as in Germany.
Corrupción.
There aren't
Corrupción es singular.
There isn't as much corruption in Germany as in Spain.
Yeah?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
You don't know.
I'm going to say both.
All right, okay, no. And profesores de inglés?
There aren't as many teachers, English teachers in Spain as in Germany.
All right. Accidentes de tráfico?
There aren't as many car accidents in Spain as in Germany.
Perhaps, I don't know.
Perhaps.
Barcazas? Barges?
There aren't as many barges in Germany as in Spain.
No, hay más aquí. Hay más allí. Barcazas sobre los ríos.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yes,
for
I
river
was thinking
transport,
yes.
long ships.
Yes, you're right.
All right. And autores, authors?
There aren't as many authors in Spain as in Germany.
Politicians?
There aren't as many politicians in Spain as in Germany.
All right. Very good. Sand, arena?
There isn't as much sand in Germany as in Spain.
Césped, hierba?
There isn't as much grass in Germany as in Spain.
¿Así? ¿Hay más hierba aquí que en
Yes.
Alemania? Alemania es verde.
Well,
It's green. Árboles?
there aren't as many trees in
Spain?
Spain as in Germany.
Buitres?
Oh, how do you say buitres?
In English?
Yes.
Vultures.
Vultures.
Se escribe vultures, pero se pronuncia vultures.
Vultures.
Yes.
There aren't as many vultures in Spain, in Germany as in Spain.
Brujas?
There aren't as many witches in Spain as in in Germany as in Spain.
There are more witches in Spain.
I think
All
so.
right. Okay, inmigrantes?
There aren't as many immigrants in Germany as well. I don't know in Spain as in Germany.
For the moment, perhaps still Germany with Turkish immigrants and other.
Yes.
Perhaps it's more. Okay, now do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, now there isn't as much free time in the United States as in Spain. There isn't as much corruption in Spain as in Africa, for example. There isn't as much clean air in Madrid as in Valladolid, for example. All right? So, let's start again, okay? There are fewer people in Paris than in London. Repeat, there aren't as many?
There aren't as many people in Paris as in London.
No me hagas esto
No,
otra
no,
vez
no,
al
as
final.
in London, as in
All
London.
right. There's less industry in Australia than in Spain.
There isn't there isn't as much industry in Spain
No, okay. Than?
than in
Pardon, as in Australia.
as in Australia.
Okay. There are fewer golf courses in France than in Spain.
There aren't much.
As many.
There aren't many.
Alas,
There aren't as many golf places,
golf courses.
golf courses in France as in Spain.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Spain, France, people.
There aren't as many people in Spain as in France.
Good. Madrid, London, fog.
There isn't as much fog in Madrid as in London.
All right. Spain, Germany, navigable canals.
There aren't as many navigable canals in Spain as in Germany.
Very good. All right. Bullfights. Spain, Germany.
There aren't as many bullfights in Germany as in Spain.
Yeah, probably there are no bullfights.
No, there aren't. There are no.
Money. Spain, Germany.
There isn't as many. There isn't as much money in Spain as in Germany.
That's right. There isn't as much money in Spain as in Germany, but there's a lot of money in Spain nevertheless. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there aren't as many minutes in this program as in the next program, okay? But I'll be back. I'll be back in a few minutes alone, and I'll be just with you, and together we'll continue studying English. Thank you, Annette, and thank you. And I'll see you in 5 minutes, okay? Bye-bye.